Well, g'day, and welcome back again to Zhaoqing. We are sitting down by Bohai Lake, which is sort of in the northwest of Seven Star Lake area. It's one of the lakes off to the side. It's a beautiful little spot. We've got the train station just up the road here, and back down the main road, sort of back over this hill, is the main road, heads straight down to the river and back to our school. So it's a really, really nice little place to come and sit. And today we're going back to the Constitution. We're going to carry on from where we left off last time. I will have this linked in the description below, so if you'd like to follow along, you can actually pull up the document, follow along with us if you so desire. So when we talked about this last, we got up to, I believe, Article 46, which puts us on to 47. So, citizens of the People's Republic of China shall enjoy the freedom to engage in scientific research, literary and artistic creation, and other cultural pursuits. The state shall encourage and assist creative work that is beneficial to the people of citizens engaged in education, science, technology, literature, art, and other cultural activities. Pretty straightforward. Article 48. Women in the People's Republic of China shall enjoy equal rights with men in all spheres of life: political, economic, cultural, social, and familial. The state shall protect the rights and interests of women, implement a system of equal pay for equal work, and train and select female officials. So trying to get more women involved in sort of government, official departments and stuff. I don't know what the percentage would be of how many women are involved in, politics overall in China. That's something that might be interesting to look up in the future. But I know when you get into local sort of government, there's local stuff here, there are a lot of women involved. It's, yes, it's not an unusual thing here. Although I don't really like this article, having to have a special category to protect women and women's rights. It's a bit of a shame that, in this day and age, we still need that. And, not saying it's a blight on China, I think it's a blight on humankind. I remember during the, 2016 American election, hearing people say they wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton because she's a woman. Had nothing to do with policies or, I wouldn't want to vote for her either. I didn't think she was a very good candidate. I didn't think either candidate was very good that year. But the fact that they wouldn't vote for her simply because she's a woman just astounded me. And this was coming from women. It was a woman I saw interviewed who said this. It blew my mind. Yeah, the fact that we have to have these protections for women and it's not just everybody's equal is a bit of a blight on, mankind. Article 49. Marriage, families, mothers and children shall be protected by the state. Both husband and wife shall have the obligation to practice family planning. Parents shall have the obligation to raise and educate their minor children. Adult children shall have the obligation to support and assist their parents. Infringement of the freedom of marriage is prohibited. Mistreatment of senior citizens, women and children is prohibited. Infringement of the freedom of marriage is prohibited. I would have to dig, that's one I might actually look at digging deeper into, because the freedom of marriage, would that involve gay couples, lesbian couples? I don't know. I don't think gay marriage is a thing in China yet, but maybe one day. I know it took a long time for Australia to get there. But yeah, that's maybe something worth digging deeper into in the future. Article 50, the People's Republic of China shall protect the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese nationals overseas, as well as the lawful rights and interests of Chinese nationals who have returned from overseas and of the family members in China of Chinese nationals overseas. Pretty straightforward. Department of Foreign Affairs, we'd call them in Australia, doing that sort of thing. Article 51. When exercising their rights, their freedoms and rights, citizens of the People's Republic of China shall not undermine the interests of the state, society or collectives, or infringe upon the lawful freedoms and rights of other citizens. Yep, fair enough. 52. Citizens of the People's Republic of China shall have the obligation to safeguard national unity and the solidarity of all the country's ethnic groups. That's an interesting one. Shall have the obligation to safeguard national unity. I think they would do that anyway. Chinese people are pretty communal. It's a pretty communal society. And the solidarity of safeguard national unity and the solidarity of all the country's ethnic groups, which, yeah, I like that as well. In my travels, I've seen a few different, I haven't traveled far yet, but I have seen a few different ethnic minorities around the place, and they tend to have really good communities. They have really good support. If they have cultural days, a lot of the people from outside that ethnic group will come and experience their festivals and stuff, so it's pretty cool. Wow, I'm just watching a bird sitting up here on the tree. Is building a nest by the look of it. He's picked up twigs. There's two of them actually hanging around watching me. Right, what do we got next? 53. Citizens of the People's Republic of China must abide by the Constitution and the law, keep state secrets, protect public property, observe discipline in the workplace, observe public order, and respect social morality. Not really any problem there that I can see. 54. Citizens of the People's Republic of China shall have the obligation to safeguard the security, honour, and interests of the motherland. They must not behave in any way that endangers the motherland's security, honour, or interests. Yeah, I think that again comes down to sort of the cultural thing here, which is, as I just said, very communal. I don't know that the obligation to safeguard the security, honour and interests of the motherland. I don't really have a problem with it. I don't think it would fly in Australia, having an obligation to do this stuff, but there we go. 55. It is the sacred duty of every citizen of the People's Republic of China to defend the motherland and resist aggression. It is an honourable obligation of citizens of the People's Republic of China to perform military service or join the militia in accordance with the law. Yeah, I don't agree with that one. It is an honourable obligation. Oh, maybe I do agree then. Maybe an honourable obligation is more yes, it's slightly different than just an obligation. I have to dig into that some more. 56. Citizens of the People's Republic of China shall have the obligation to pay taxes in accordance with the law. This is another thing I actually want to dig further into, the tax rate. How much tax do people pay here in China? Because from what I understand, it is quite low. Personally, for me, sort of looking around, I'd like to see people pay a little bit more and get more services. So in school, once you get, you're guaranteed 9 years. I'd love to see them guarantee 9 years paid 12 years paid education. So see you right through high school without having to worry about that. You don't start paying for schooling until you're in college. I think that'd be a fair reason for raising taxes a little. The other one would be healthcare. I'd love to see healthcare. I mean, healthcare is very cheap. It is not expensive at all here, but I really think they could pay a little bit more tax and have healthcare free. At least certain aspects of healthcare. Maybe not everything. Maybe there's still something. So in Australia, Medicare covers sort of emergency stuff, this, that, and the other. But then if you want, if you need glasses, I think Medicare will cover the cost of basic glasses. But if you want better quality, you can go and get insurance, private insurance for that sort of stuff. Elective surgeries, you can go and get private insurance for that. Right, so we're now on to Chapter 3, State Institutions. So Section 1 is the National People's Congress. We're going to rip through these pretty quickly. Article 57, the National People's Congress of the People's Republic of China is the highest state organ of power. It is a permanent organ of the National People's Congress Standing Committee. 58. The National People's Congress and the National People's Congress Standing Committee exercise the legislative power of the state. Yep, fair enough. 59. The National People's Congress shall be composed of deputies elected from the provinces, autonomous regions, cities directly under central government jurisdiction, special administrative regions and armed forces. All ethnic minorities should have an appropriate number of deputies. The election of deputies to the National People's Congress shall be presided over by the National People's Congress Standing Committee. The number of deputies to the National People's Congress and the procedures for their election shall be prescribed by law. Yep, fair enough. Article 60. Each National People's Congress shall have a term of 5 years. The National People's Congress Standing Committee must complete the election of deputies to the next National People's Congress 2 months prior to the completion of the term of the office of the current National People's Congress. If extraordinary circumstances prevent an election from going ahead, the election may be postponed and the term of office of the current National People's Congress may be extended by a resolution supported by at least 2/3 of the members of the current National People's Congress Standing Committee. The election of deputies to the next National People's Congress must be completed within 1 year of said extraordinary circumstances coming to an end. Yeah, that's fair enough. Pretty straightforward, pretty simply laid out. 61. A session of the National People's Congress shall be held once every year and shall be convened by the National People's Congress Standing Committee. If the National People's Congress Standing Committee deems it necessary, or 1/5 or more of National People's Congress deputies so propose, a session of the National People's Congress may be convened in the interim. When the National People's Congress holds a session, it shall elect a presidium to conduct that session. So a different leader possibly for each. Okay, the National People's Congress shall exercise the following functions and powers. 1. Amending the Constitution. So there's a difference. So they amend the Constitution, it doesn't go to a vote of the people like we often hear in America. If they want to change the Constitution, it's got to go to a big vote. I don't even know how we do it in Australia. I think that would have to be a national vote as well. So the National People's Congress will amend the Constitution. I do wonder if that will change. We're actually going to just skip back up to the top here. So just going through, the Constitution was first adopted in 1982. Amended in 1988, amended in 1993, amended in 1999, 2004, 2018. So yeah, a lot of this is still, where were we? Here we are. A lot of this is still new, and how they go about changing the constitution, where if a person, just an ordinary worker, ordinary everyday citizen wants something changed, how would they go about doing that? There's something that we might have a look at further in the future. Number 2, overseeing the enforcement of the Constitution. 3, enacting and amending criminal, civil, state, institutional and other basic laws. 4, electing the President and Vice President of the People's Republic of China. 5, deciding based on nomination by the President of the People's Republic of China on the successful candidate for the Premier of the State Council. Deciding based on nominations by the Premier of the State Council on the successful candidates for Vice Premiers, State Councillors, Ministers of Ministries, Ministers of Commissions, the Auditor General and the Secretary General of the State Council. 6, electing the Chairperson of the Central Military Commission and deciding based on nominations by the Chairperson of the Central Military Commission on the successful candidates for other members of the Central Military Commission. 7, electing the Chairperson of the National Commission of Supervision. Don't know what that is. 8, electing the President of the Supreme People's Court. 9, electing the Procurator General of the Supreme People's Procurator of that place. Go find it, read it with yourself. 10, reviewing and approving the Plan for National Economic and Social Development and the report on its implementation. 11, reviewing and approving the state's budget and the report on its implementation. 12, changing or revoking inappropriate decisions of the National People's Congress Standing Committee. So overseeing the next committee down. 13, approving the establishment of provinces, autonomous regions and cities directly under central government jurisdiction. 14, deciding on the establishment of special administrative regions and the system shall be instituted there. 15, deciding on issues concerning war and peace. And 16, other functions and powers that the highest state organ of power should exercise. So, leaving it fairly open there at the end, which I know people are going to say, oh, that's just the government saying we can do whatever we want. I actually like the idea. If we look at the Constitution in America, the big one that I really disagree with is the right to bear arms. You know, the amount of gun ownership in America. Now, I'm not anti-gun. I quite enjoy going out shooting. Never owned a gun of my own, but I've known people who have gone out a number of times shooting and stuff. I enjoy shooting. I believe you should be able to own a firearm in America if you wish. I don't agree with it for other places. Here in China, I would say, nah, they don't want it here, so no. But in America, you know, a large section of the population do want the right to bear arms. However, I would say it is way too open in the Constitution. If you've got a criminal past, you shouldn't be allowed to own guns. If you're mentally unstable, you shouldn't be able to own guns. There are situations where owning a gun is not appropriate, but people defend these rights for these people who shouldn't have them. I don't understand that. I really don't. But it's very, very hard to change the Constitution in America. I think in China, they do change the Constitution, as we've just seen, a lot more. But the Constitution's still very new here in China. So they're still fine-tuning, and I do like the idea of being able to fairly easily change things to keep up with times. I know there's a Jim Jeffries skit, if anyone knows Jim Jeffries, a comedian. The gun control thing, which sent him viral, really got him very well known. And like he says, you know, when the Constitution was written, people had muskets. It took however long, a couple of minutes to load your gun to be ready to fire. It wasn't like today having all these semi-automatic rifles and stuff. So no, you should be changing the rules as times change. China, I think, sometimes can be a little bit slow to change, but they generally, if there's a big change coming, they generally do it little bit by little bit and make sure that as they gradually implement things, it's not affecting the rest of society in a negative way. So I appreciate that. You know, take your time, make sure you're doing it right, but do it right. So we're now up to Article 63. The National People's Congress shall have the power to remove from office the following personnel. 1. The President and Vice President of the People's Republic of China. 2. The Premier, Vice Premiers, State Councillors, Ministers of Ministries, Ministers of Commissions, the Auditor General, and the Secretary General of the State Council. 3. The Chairperson of the Central Military Commission and other members of the Central Military Commission. 4. The Chairperson of the National Commission of Supervision. 5. The President of the Supreme People's Court. And 6. The Procurator General of the Supreme People's let's get this word right. Procuratorate. So yes, they can install, they can take away. Fair enough. Article 64. Amendments to the Constitution must be proposed by the national people. Okay, so what we were talking about before, how do they change the Constitution? Amendments to the Constitution must be proposed by the National People's Congress Standing Committee or by 1/5 or more of National People's Congress deputies and be adopted by a vote of at least 2/3 of National People's Congress deputies. Laws and other proposals shall be adopted by a majority vote. Okay, so we might get on to more about this later. I'm going to dig deeper into how they change the Constitution, because I'm sure there must be a way where the lower classes, those who aren't in politics, can put forward ideas. Right, Article 65. The National People's Congress Standing Committee shall be composed of the following personnel: Chairperson, Vice Chairpersons, number not said, a Secretary General and members. There should be an appropriate number of ethnic minority deputies who sit as members on the National People's Congress Standing Committee. The National People's Congress shall elect and have the power to remove from office the members of the National People's Congress Standing Committee. Members of the National People's Congress Standing Committee shall not hold office in an administrative, supervisory, adjunctory or procuratorial organ of the state. So, keeping separation. Yep, fair enough, no problem. Article 66. Each National People's Congress Standing Committee shall have the same term of office as the National People's Congress. It shall exercise its functions and powers until a new standing committee is elected by the next National People's Congress. The chairperson and vice chairpersons of the standing committee shall serve no more than 2 consecutive terms. Yep, okay. Actually, I wonder if that's changed now, because I know they did change the rules around the president from being able to only serve 2 terms to now being able to go on, which, again, no problem. If the president is doing a good job, I see no reason to get rid of him. If the people are happy. I never understood that in America. Like, you take someone like Obama, who seemed to be fairly popular from the outside. I don't know for sure, but I never understood why he serves 2 terms and then he has to go. It just seems like a waste of, if you have a good president who's doing a good job, taking good care of the people, why wouldn't you want him to stay? I don't understand that. Okay, Article 67, the National People's Congress Standing Committee shall exercise the following functions and powers. 1. Interpreting the Constitution and overseeing its enforcement. 2. Enacting and amending laws other than those that should be enacted by the National People's Congress. 3. When the National People's Congress is out of session, partially supplementing or amending laws enacted by the National People's Congress, but without conflicting with the basic principles of those laws. 4. Interpreting laws. 5. When the National People's Congress is out of session, reviewing and approving. Okay, so it looks like a lot of this, I'm just going to quickly glance through here. Okay, number 14, deciding on the appointment or removal of plenipotentiary representatives abroad. So would that be like things like ambassadors and stuff, maybe? So a lot of this is to do with overseeing, working when the main sort of parliament is not in session. So sort of like an interim. 17. Stipulating national medals and titles of honour and deciding on their conferment. Okay. 18. Deciding on the granting of special pardons. Another one that I don't know that I really agree with. Pardons. Although in this case it is a committee, so I'm a bit happier about it, I guess. I really don't like what they have in America, where the president can pardon people. Just one man can do that on his own. I don't know that I agree with that. If someone's done something illegal, they should. I do like this better because it is a committee deciding. It's not one person just deciding that, oh, I like this person, we're going to let him out of jail. That's just sounds silly to me. Especially now with Trump facing things and all the speculation about him just pardoning himself. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's crazy. So yeah, have a read through. There are a lot more stuff here, but we're going to skip through. We're going to try and get through a little bit quicker. Okay, we're going to just skip through a few of these articles. Okay, we're through to section 2, Article 79. This is on the President of the People's Republic of China. Article 79. The President and Vice President of the People's Republic of China shall be elected by the National People's Congress. Citizens of the People's Republic of China who have the right to vote and stand for election and who have reached the age of 45 are eligible for election as President or Vice President of the People's Republic of China. The President and Vice President of the People's Republic of China shall have the same term of office as that of the National People's Congress, so 5 years. Over the age of 45. Kind of agree, kind of disagree. I do believe if you're going to run the country, you need that experience. You need to have those years under your belt. Does that mean people under 45 can't do a good job? I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. Right, the number 80, Article 80. The President of the National People's Republic of China, pursuant to decisions of the National People's Congress and the National People's Congress Standing Committee, promulgates laws, appoints or removes the Premier, Vice Premiers, State Councillors, Ministers and Ministries,
ministers of commissions, Auditor General and Secretary General of the State Council, confers national medals and titles of honour, issues orders of special pardon, declares a state of emergency, declares a state of war, and issues mobilisation orders. So, from the way I read this, pursuant to decisions of the National People's Congress and National People's Congress Standing Committee, when those organisations make a decision, I guess it's going to the President for confirmation, like bills go to the President of the United States for signing off. I don't know if he can refuse a decision by the Congress or the Standing Committee. If they come up with something that they want, can he just say no? It doesn't say here. Something else for me to dig into at a later stage. Article 81. The President of the People's Republic of China engages in affairs of state and receives foreign diplomatic envoys on behalf of blah-de-blah-de-blah. So yes, head of state is the representative of the country, basically. Article 82. The Vice President of the People's Republic of China shall assist the President in his or her work. The Vice President of the People's Republic of China may, when so entrusted by the President, exercise part of the functions and powers of the President on his or her behalf. Right. Skip down to 84. In the event that the office of President of the People's Republic of China becomes vacant, the Vice President shall succeed to the office of President. In the event that the office of Vice President of the People's Republic of China becomes vacant, the National People's Congress shall elect a new Vice President. In the event that the offices of both President and Vice President of the People's Republic of China become vacant, the National People's Congress shall elect a new President and a new Vice President. Prior to their election, the Chairperson of the National People's Congress Standing Committee shall temporarily act as President. They're all fair enough for me. Right, Section 3, the State Council. Article 85. The State Council of the People's Republic of China, namely the Central People's Government, is the executive organ of the highest state organ of power. It is the highest state administrative organ. 86. The State Council is composed of the following personnel: Premier, Vice Premiers, State Councillors, Ministers of Ministries, Ministers of Commissions, Auditor General, and a Secretary General. Okay, we're going to sort of skip through a bit of this. Okay, they shall have the same term of office of the National People's Congress. The Premier, Vice Premiers and State Council shall serve no more than 2 consecutive terms. I do wonder if that's changed since they changed the presidential terms. Doesn't say here. Right, the State Council should exercise the following functions and powers. This is Article 89. Stipulating administrative measures, formulating administrative regulations, and issuing decisions and orders in accordance with the Constitution of the law. Submitting proposals to the National People's Congress or the Standing Committee. Stipulating the missions and responsibilities of the ministries. Okay, so the State Council looks like a much more administrative entity. So the Congress and the Standing Committee is more an overarching thing, and the State Council actually works out how to implement what is being passed down the line. Directing and managing work such as civil affairs, public security, judicial, yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay, so yes, that is more the day-to-day running of government institutions. We're going to move down to Section 4. The Central Military Commission. This is quite a short one, only 2 articles. Article 93. The Central Military Commission of the People's Republic of China shall lead the country's armed forces. The Central Military Commission is composed of the following personnel: chairperson, vice chairpersons, members. Central Military Commission shall practice a chairperson responsibility system. The Central Military Commission shall have the same term of office as that of the National People's Congress. And Article 94, the chairperson of the Central Military Commission shall be responsible to the National People's Congress and the National People's Congress Standing Committee. Yep, fair enough, there's not much there. Okay, Section 5. Local people's congresses at all levels and local people's governments at all levels. Before we get into this, I'm going to take a quick drink because it's pretty warm and dry out here. Okay, wet the whistle a little bit. Okay, we're just going to have a look through these fairly quickly. Article 95. Provinces, cities directly under central government jurisdiction, counties, cities, municipal districts, townships and ethnic townships and towns shall establish people's congresses and people's governments. The organisation of local people's congresses at all levels and local people's governments at all levels shall be prescribed by law. Autonomous regions, autonomous prefectures and autonomous counties shall establish autonomous organs. The organisation and work of autonomous organs shall be prescribed by the law in accordance, rah-de-rah. Okay, so I'm guessing by these local congresses, much the same as local councils for those of you in Australia. I don't know what different countries call that, but yeah, just your local. Skip through a little bit. Okay, so they all have the sort of lead, chairperson, vice chairman, person, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I'm trying to find how. So it's at the moment it's all about basically what a local council would do in Australia, all your local stuff, local decisions. Trying to find okay, I haven't been able to find anything about how they are actually elected. Directly. Okay. Article 97. I skipped that one and you missed it. Deputies to the People's Congresses of provinces, cities directly under central government jurisdiction, and cities divided into districts shall be elected by the People's Congresses at the next level down. Deputies to the People's Congresses of counties, cities not divided into districts, municipal districts, townships, ethnic townships and towns shall be directly elected by their constituencies. The number of deputies to local people's congresses shall at all levels and the procedures shall be prescribed by law. So, yes. So elections here do work differently to a lot of other countries. The local people elect their local representatives. The local representatives then elect the next level. The next level then elects, and it goes up until we get to the president being elected. So it's just a different way of doing it. Yes, people do get a vote if they don't like the way their locals are doing things, going about electing people, whatever, they can get them voted out. But yeah, most of the articles here are pretty much as you would expect for local councils. Okay, Section 6. Autonomous organs and ethnic autonomous areas. Autonomous organs of ethnic autonomous areas. Article 112. The autonomous organs of ethnic autonomous areas are the People's Congresses and the People's Governments of autonomous regions, autonomous prefectures and autonomous counties. In the People's Congresses of autonomous regions, autonomous prefectures and autonomous counties, aside from deputies of the ethnic group that exercise regional autonomy, other ethnic groups resident in that administrative area should also have an appropriate number of deputies. So once again, making sure that one ethnicity is not just dominating everything. No problem there. On the standing committees of People's Congresses of autonomous regions, autonomous prefectures and autonomous counties, there should be citizens of the ethnic group that exercises regional autonomy in office as chairperson or vice chairperson. So one of those two positions should be filled by a representative of the majority ethnic group, but not necessarily both. Same with the offices of governor of an autonomous region. Should belong to the ethnic group that it exercises regional autonomy there. No, we're going to keep going through this one a bit because there is a lot of misunderstanding. Right. Article 115. The autonomous organs of an autonomous regions, autonomous prefectures and autonomous... Okay, we're just going to say autonomous places from here to cover all of those things. Exercise the functions and powers of local state organs as specified in the Chapter 3, Section 5 of the Constitution. At the same time, they shall exercise the power to self-govern according to the authority invested in them as prescribed by the Constitution and law. Righty-rah. 16. The People's Congresses of ethnic autonomous areas shall have the power to formulate autonomous regulations and local specific regulations in accordance with the political, economic, cultural characteristics of the ethnic groups in their areas. Yeah, it's another area I'd have to dig in. There's more written here, but it doesn't really go in the direction. I'd like to learn more about that one. 117. Autonomous organs of ethnic autonomous areas shall have the autonomy to manage their local finances. All fiscal revenue which, according to the state financial system, belongs to an ethnic autonomous area should be autonomously allocated and used by the autonomous organs of that ethnic autonomous area. Okay. So it is pretty much giving... Okay, Okay, 121. In performing their duties, autonomous organs of ethnic autonomous areas shall, in accordance with autonomous regulations of that ethnic autonomous area, use the spoken and written language or languages commonly used in that area. So yes, keeping those languages alive, as opposed to what you hear some people saying about them trying to eliminate the local languages in Xinjiang. That would go against the Constitution. Okay, we're down to Section 7. Commissions of Supervision. Just having a look through here for what they actually do. There's not much there to actually talk about, or not much that interests me. Going to go down to Section 8, People's Courts and People's Procuratoriates. Article 128. The People's Courts of the People's Republic of China are the adjunctory organs of the state. 129. The People's Republic of China shall establish a Supreme People's Court and local People's Courts at all levels, military courts and other special People's Courts. The President of the Supreme People's Court shall have the same term of office of the Congress, shall not serve more than 2 consecutive terms, rah-de-rah. Okay, except in special circumstances as prescribed by law, all cases in the People's Courts shall be tried in public. The accused shall have the right to defence. 131. The People's Courts shall, in accordance with the provisions of the law, independently exercise power and shall not be subject to the interference from any administrative organ, social organisation or individual. Yeah, so lots of rules about how the courts work. It's actually, again, in autonomous regions, people in those regions have the right to use their own written and spoken language in courts. Now, just talking about that, we're almost at the end. Just talking about the courts and stuff. I did have a comment on an earlier video from somebody saying about how the rule of law doesn't apply here in China. I am going to dive deeper into that. It's something I am looking into. I'm going to have a little bit more of a look to see how things actually work here. But I would say in looking at how things work here, they are still getting things together. As we saw earlier when we saw how often the constitution's changed in the last, when was it first adopted? 1982, so it's only, 20, 30, 40 years old. It's been changed a number of times. They're still getting it together here. You know, when the Communist Party took over, when was that, 1947, 48, 49? I can't remember exactly. But when they took over, they basically had to start from scratch. A lot of countries who like to criticize China, I think need to understand that a lot of those countries, America, Australia, Britain, they've been around for a long time, hundreds of years. Their governments have been in place for a long time. So they've got that background. China's a different country. They don't do things the same way. They do adopt things much slower, and they adopt things a little bit of a time, as I said earlier, to make sure it's not negatively affecting their culture, their history, all that sort of stuff. So I think give it another 20 years, they will get a lot of this stuff sorted out. And speaking to young people, I work in a college, speaking to people of that age, they're very, very enthusiastic about the future here. Things are just much, they do things slower here. They take a much deeper view. They can come up with decisions very quickly, but they will implement things step by step. They won't rush into things and risk causing harm, which I appreciate. I don't have I love the idea of being able to make a quick decision, but then going through it bit by bit, making sure that it is working. A lot of things tend to get rushed. They make a decision, in Australia, and it's just bang, that's your decision. That's how it is now. And they don't tend to look enough, I think, at negative impacts. Anyway, we're going to move on. Chapter 4, our last chapter. The national flag, national anthem, national emblem, and the capital. Article 141. The national flag of the People's Republic of China is a red flag with 5 stars. The national anthem of the People's Republic of China is the March of the Volunteers. I love that idea. March of the Volunteers really sums up how I feel when I'm involved with events here. People come out of the woodwork to help all the time. Volunteers do such a huge part of every community I've seen here in China. You know, people are always willing to get in and help. So yeah, March of the Volunteers as a national anthem, absolutely perfect idea, I think. Article 142. The national emblem of the People's Republic of China consists of an image of Tiananmen Gate in the center, illuminated by 5 stars and encircled by spikes of grain and a cogwheel. Article 143. The capital of the People's Republic of China is Beijing. Okay, this English version is provided by the Communist Party of China Central Committee Institute of Party History and Literature. So yeah, that's basically the Constitution. There are sections there, as I say, that I am going to go back and dig a little bit deeper in. There are things I want to find a bit more out about. And dig in a little bit more onto the way, you know, little individual things work here that were covered there, because it is a very substantial document. It covers a lot of areas that maybe aren't covered as over the top in other constitutions. I don't know, I've never read another constitution, but I've heard that America's constitution is actually very, very short. I've never seen it, so I can't know that for sure. But this is still very much a work in progress. It's not done and dusted by any means. I'm sure there will be more changes. I'm sure as society changes, so with things like, you know, the technology changes, AI and all that sort of stuff, I'm sure there will be more things added in as their situation in the world changes. You know, they've gone from being quite a poor country to now being a rich country. If they head back to being a poor country again in, I don't know, 100 years' time, they'll probably have to change it again. If they end up getting richer, they might have to change it again to make sure, you know, again, very communal. They'll probably want to make sure that everybody is being lifted up. As the country is lifted up, the whole population should be lifted up. So we will dig deeper into the future. And this guy, I can't remember your name, but we did have a bit of a conversation. I've sort of stopped talking in that conversation thread because the stuff we're talking about, I am going to dig in and do a couple of videos on a couple of the subjects that were mentioned. But so yeah, stay tuned. So that's basically the Constitution here in China. If you've enjoyed that, hit that like button down there. Subscribe to the channel to see more. We're actually looking at going to Yunfu, back to Yunfu this weekend. Apparently they got dragon boat races on. Just got a message from my friends over there saying, come to Yunfu for the weekend. So yeah, I'm looking at heading over there for a couple of days. So we'll go and film the dragon boat racing and see what's going on over there. So get subscribed to see that. Share with friends. If you have any questions, comments, hit us up in the comment section. If you have any topics you would like to see covered, comment section, hit us up. If you come up with a interesting topic, we'll be sure to do some research and try and come up with a video for you all. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you all in the next one. Cheers.